I believe it was Albert Einstein who said, "There ain't no mystery like an internet mystery." Since the internet was invented back in 1990 or something, there have been many puzzling questions that have yet to be answered. Who invented Bitcoin? What's Obama's last name? Will my dad ever come back with the milk? Well, guys, today we're going to discuss some of the enigmas that can be found on the web. I'm Dantavius. How you doing? And today we're going to be covering the second half of the Internet Mysteries Iceberg, so if you haven't watched that, please go watch it. But also watch this, alright? Watch both videos. And if you enjoy them, maybe, like and subscribe with notifications on, please. I owe a lot of money to the IRS, and I need this video to do well, or I'm going to have to change my identity again. Anyways, guys, this is an iceberg video, which means I'm going to start talking about more well-known internet mysteries and end with things you may have never heard of. And I really hope you guys enjoy it, because this is going to be the last iceberg video I ever do, alright? So enough jibber-jabber, let's jump right into this thing.
This video is brought to you by Manscaped. Guys, if I sound a little bit weird and I look a little bit sweaty, it's because I got the COVID, alright? I went 2 years, but I finally got it. But that's not going to stop me from talking about one of the best sponsors this channel has ever had, Manscaped. I gotta be honest with you guys. I spent most of my life being against, trimming the bush, alright? I've been walking around looking like Zohan from the hit movie Don't Mess with the Zohan starring Adam Sandler. I used to think ladies love the bush until, I've actually asked one, and turns out it's not true. That's why I partner with Manscaped. Manscaped offers the best tools for grooming and hygiene to keep you looking and smelling like the exact opposite of a Reddit moderator. And they actually hooked me up with a bunch of cool stuff from their all-in-one Performance Package 4.0. So let's take a gander, shall we?
Alright, let's see what we got here. We got a little nose trimmer, that's pretty good. I could use that. We got this grooming kit. Very good, very good. Alright, let's see what's in the pièce de résistance. Your balls will thank you. Yes, they will. Alright, so let's... Oh, is that what I think it is? Is that the Lawnmower 4.0 body trimmer? Ooh, I can't wait to use this bad boy tonight. This is nice, man. This is actually very, good quality. Oh, and check it out. It has cordless charging. This is straight from the year 3022, dog. We're living in the future. Oh, and what do we have here? Ball deodorant and ball toner? You'd think you might not need this, but trust me, fellas. You do.
Guys, after filming that B-roll footage, I actually tried the product out for myself, and I gotta say, my balls are as smooth as eggs, and they glisten like rare gems. So if you want your balls to be smooth as eggs like me, then check out the link in the description of this video, or use code Dantavius at manscaped.com. Right now, they're running a very special offer where anybody who signs up with that link or my code gets 20% off everything I showed you here today. And that's not all. You also receive a carrying case for all your delicious Manscaped products, plus a pair of no-chafe boxer briefs. It doesn't get any better than this, fellas. Oh, and to the 20% of women who also watch my videos, don't feel left out. You can trim your bush too, or better yet, buy this for your man, alright? Don't you want to have a man that has balls as smooth as eggs? I think you do. So again, guys, please check out manscaped.com, code Dantavius, or the link in the description of this video. I would appreciate it so much. And thank you so much to Manscaped for sponsoring this video. You guys are the best. Anyways, let's get back to it.
Go for a Punch, aka Sako Sanobashi, is a lost anime, and as with most lost media, the search for this anime began on 4chan's X board. On February 2015, somebody asked, most effed up thing you've ever seen on the deep web. And just read through some of these comments if you weren't already convinced that 4chan users are the biggest degenerates on the planet. After combing through some truly horrendous stuff, you'll come across this comment. Some weird anime about naked girls stuck in a large bathroom having a philosophical debate about never getting out of the room. After losing hope for some days, everything goes downhill. They just start screaming and yelling, then they all commit suicide, either by smashing their heads on the floor or scratching their necks to bloody pieces. I cried myself to sleep right after watching that vid because I just didn't know anymore. It was goddamn horrifying. Haven't found or seen it again. The name of the vid was something along the lines of go for a punch or something. Damn, man, that is like the second most terrifying cartoon I've ever heard of. The first one being... Somebody then asked 4chan's anime boards if they've ever heard of this elusive anime, and somebody suggested that the name might be Saki Sanobashi, which apparently translates to expending the difference. Whatever the fuck that means. So, after the initial post, this topic would pique the interest of a few people for a few weeks on 4chan. But the search for this disturbing anime wouldn't really take off until Justin Wang made a video about it.
We're going searching for the lost anime, Saki Sanobashi, aka Go for a Punch.
This video led to more people than ever obsessing over the true origins of Saki Sanobashi. But not long after its release, somebody would make a post on Reddit claiming that he made the whole thing up. He also posted evidence that he was the OP by providing images used on the original post with timestamps showing that he had these photos saved on his phone before the post was made. But that's really easy to fake, so take that with a grain of salt. So that's basically where we are today. There haven't been a lot of new developments. It might be real, it might be fake, but one thing is for certain, people will never stop trying to find it. By the way, guys, I don't know if it's super noticeable, but I feel like the lighting on my camera keeps getting darker and brighter, so I apologize for that. But anyways, let's move on. Persistent Trip, Datura, refers to a video of a shirtless man talking to a camera. He explains that he's been under the effects of some drug for over 2 months now.
Don't seem to be coming down. It's been about 2 months. Can't really go out. Been spending a lot of time in the basement.
Whoa, spending a lot of time in the basement? Not going out? This is truly terrifying. I don't know what drug this guy took, but it turned him into a Reddit mod. He goes on to say that he feels like he's never going to come down. Now, I don't know who that man is, or if he ever recovered from that bad trip, but in the description of this video it says, "This video was uploaded to YouTube several years ago, and I haven't been able to find it recently. As I recall, the uploader claimed it was found footage. He said he found the tape on a park bench or something, and was concerned about the person depicted therein." So, this is pretty mysterious. I highly doubt that they found it on a bus bench, but I can't really find more info on it either way, so I mean, that's pretty much it. I hope the dude got help for whatever he was going through, and, don't do drugs. Iceman Throwaway 123. I previously talked about this one in my disturbing Reddit post, Iceberg, so I'm not going to get too into it here. But here's the abridged version. Reddit user Iceman Throwaway 123 made a Reddit post with the title, 12 mysterious and identical stores open up on my street. What could be happening? In this post, he talks about how a dozen stores suddenly opened up near his home. All of these stores were identical to each other and had generic names. He never saw any customers in any of these establishments, and if you were to go inside one of these places, you would find very little actual products, and the products they did have were mostly expired food and other produce. Now, to me, this is all pretty obvious, okay? I know a thing or two about money laundering. Legally, I can't get into it. But trust me, I know a thing or two. And it's very obvious that this is a classic money laundering scheme. But I'm pretty sure this post is fake because I don't think any criminal enterprise of this size that could afford to do something like this would be this stupid and obvious with it. Celine Delgado Lopez. Now, if you're under the age of 40 and your IQ is over 40, you probably don't use Facebook much. But many people who still use this godforsaken app claim that they have an unknown person on their friends list. This person goes by the name Celine Delgado Lopez. And the weird thing is about this woman is that you can't unfriend her. The only way to get rid of this woman is by blocking her. Now, when I first heard about this, I was like, man, that's a load of baloney. That's straight up malarkey. But then I had to check for myself, and sure as shit, right there, as you can see, all these other people have add friend next to the name, but this one particular account, Celine Delgado Lopez, says view profile. So it looks like we are friends, but I don't remember ever adding this woman as far as I know. But then again, I did a lot of weird shit I don't remember back when I was addicted to nitrous oxide, so who knows? It probably happened around then. Now guys, I'm sure if you check your Facebook profiles right now and you check your friends list, there's a good chance that Celine is there. So who is this mysterious woman, and how do you explain her being on so many people's friends lists? Well, it turns out this was all a social experiment seeing how dumb internet users are, and the answer is incredibly. The reason it says view profile instead of add friend is because there's an option in your privacy settings where you can disable anyone being able to send you a friend request. So the add message means you need to message them first to ask them to add you. But like I said, Facebook users have the intelligence of a fucking leather boot, so they thought it meant that they were friends with her. So the only mystery here is, how are these people still allowed to vote? Now this name Celine Delgado Lopez, or Selena Delgado Lopez. Am I fucking dyslexic, dude? Is it Selena? Good grief. Anyways, this goes deeper than the Facebook thing. There's a Mexican TV channel called Channel 5, which is like the Mexican version of Cartoon Network. They play cartoons for children. But for some reason, at like 3 a.m., they'll play some creepy shit, kind of like Adult Swim, except they don't have an adult-oriented programming block. They'll just play creepy shit for kids, which is weird. But anyways, at one point, they played this really disturbing segment which showed a bunch of missing persons. And then if you keep watching, you'll see that one of the missing persons had a very familiar name.
Selene Delgado López, de 18 años, se extravió el 22 de abril en la delegación Álvaro Obregón.
People tried to find this woman, but there's no trace of her anywhere, at least not on the internet, so it's unknown if she actually ever existed or not. It's also believed by some that the photo isn't even real, like it was drawn or generated by AI, because it's kind of got that weird Uncanny Valley vibe to it. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all there is to this one. The Area 51 caller. Area 51 is a highly secretive United States Air Force base in the Nevada desert. Despite rumors about aliens and weird experiments, the US government didn't officially recognize its existence until 2013, which I actually wasn't even familiar with until I started looking into this. Prior to that, radio host Art Bell aired a segment on his show where he asked current or former employees of Area 51 to call in and shed some light on what the heck they're doing in there. But I don't think Art was prepared for the shit show he was about to witness.
A former employee. Okay, what we're thinking of as aliens are they're extra-dimensional beings that an earlier precursor of the space program made contact with. They are not what they claim to be. They have infiltrated a lot of aspects of the military establishment, particularly the Area 51.
So at this point, I was thinking, you know, anybody can call in and say whatever horse shit they want. And this guy was probably just, you know, doing a little trolling.
We do a little trolling. It's called We Do a Little Trolling.
But then something weird happened. Apparently, Ort's entire transmission went down during the call with this fella.
The disasters that are coming, I started getting...
I will say, if the government did take down this transmission to stop that guy from talking, then they're fucking idiots, alright? Because it just brought so much more attention to this than there would have been otherwise. I mean, I wouldn't be talking about it right now if that didn't happen. Over the years, many people have claimed credit for this call, most notably comic book writer Brian Glass. He claims that the call was just a prank that went too far, and he even called back later to admit that he was just trolling. But the weird thing is, despite the fact that he fessed up to it, he says he still has no idea how the transmission cut out like that. It's mysterious. Jack Froese, I don't know how to pronounce. Jack Froese, that's how I'm going to say it. Back in 2011, people began receiving emails from somebody named Jack Froese, which wouldn't be that weird, except for the fact that Jack Froese had passed away months prior. Now, this is very strange because typically, only people who are alive can send emails. The first email was sent to Jack's friend Tim Hart. It read, "I'm at your house, clean your fucking attic." Tim said that this was an inside joke between the two of them that nobody else knew about. Then, his cousin Jimmy received an email as well, which read, "I knew you were going to break your ankle. Tried to warn you, gotta be careful." Jimmy had broken his ankle a week before. Now, this could very well be one of his family members logging into his email and sending messages to people, but his family claims that nobody knew his passwords, so do with that what you will. Ritual at CERN. CERN is the European Organization for Nuclear Research. It's one of the most sophisticated and well-funded research centers in the world. Here, all of Europe's top scientists work around the clock to figure out new ways to create Adidas tracksuits. It's also home to the Large Hadron Collider. Oh, and apparently they also conduct satanic rituals there. So what you're seeing here is a group of hooded individuals conducting some sort of human sacrifice in front of the Hindu god Shiva. Now, it turns out this was actually real. Like, nobody was actually harmed. It wasn't a real sacrifice. But the people in this video were actually CERN scientists who claimed that this was just a weird prank. Goddamn, I bet Alex Jones had a field day when this came out. CERN actually released an official statement regarding this video stating that This video is a work of fiction. CERN fills up with new visitors over the summer and users from across the world who come to CERN as part of their work, and some of whom occasionally let their sense of humor go too far. And that is what happened on this occasion. CERN does not condone this type of spoof. Now, rumors were already swirling about CERN before this, but this only fanned the flames. People in conspiracy circles were saying that they were trying to use the Large Hadron Collider to open a portal to hell Doom style, or summon the Antichrist or Cthulhu or whatever. I don't know about all that, but definitely not a good look. Oh, and I should mention that the statue of Shiva wasn't something that these scientists built themselves. It was actually a gift from the Indian government when they started working with CERN. So at best, this is culturally insensitive. At worst, they're opening a portal to the dark dimension where they're going to force us to be slaves to some cosmic horror. Fun time kids care. Okay, I'm actually going to make a whole video on this one, so I'm not going to get too much into detail here. Somewhere in Salt Lake City, Utah, there's an odd-looking green building. The sign of this building says it's a daycare. Fun time kids care. But some people believe that there are no kids having fun in there, if you know what I'm saying. In 2015, Reddit user Disco Godfather 6922 made a post on the Salt Lake City forum with the title, "What's the deal with this place? Lived across the street from it for 5 years, never seen a kid in there." OP posted this thread to get some answers, but it only raised more questions, and it kept getting weirder and weirder. The top comment says, "I am going to advise you guys to stop looking into this place." Cryptic. "Why is that?" another one says. "CIA black site." Bro, I love how you can just say CIA black site without anything backing it up and people will just believe it. You gotta love the internet, man. After this post was made, it began migrating from the Salt Lake City forums to a bunch of conspiracy subreddits where all sorts of theories began to take root, ranging from the place being a CIA black site, like I just mentioned, to a trafficking ring, to money laundering front for the cartels, to an organ harvesting operation, and finally a witness protection safe house. Oh, and there's a bunch of other ones actually, but the main theory surrounding this place is that it was a child trafficking ring. It even spread to 4chan where one guy actually went there and started taking pictures of the inside through the windows. And by golly, if this place was truly trafficking kids, then it had to be stopped. So naturally, a Facebook group was formed. Storm Fun Time Kids Care. They can't stop us all. And I'm not entirely sure what happened, but if it's anything like the other times a bunch of schmucks on the internet tried to storm something, nothing happened. But after this story started making its rounds, the Utah Department of Health actually investigated the place. And according to them, it's a legitimate business. They also said the reason people don't see kids is because they only take care of like 1 or 2 kids at a time. It's not really like a big place. But I don't know, man. This could all just be a massive cover-up. Like I said, though, I'm going to make another video on this in the future, so subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss it. John.com is a bizarre website with a bunch of random images on it that when clicked redirect you to a page where you have to put in an access code. It seems like some weird ARG, but the general consensus is that it's just a troll website. Like, nobody's been able to figure out what the access codes are. And I think that's probably the case. It's just a troll website, so not much more to it. Joanna Lopez. On January 24th, 1989, an NBC News affiliate in Chicago signed off the air and displayed an image of a missing person along with a phone number to call with any information regarding the individual shown in the photo. On the initial viewing, you probably noticed that this photo is creepy as shit. Like, this doesn't even look like a human. This looks like an alien from the planet Fart Salon 5 or something. How is anybody supposed to identify this shadowy figure? Like, what is this shit, man? It's also curious that they also didn't list any details about this woman. Her height, weight, age, nothing. It's just a blurry-ass, dark-ass photo that looks like a goddamn extraterrestrial. Typically, when they would do a missing persons call-out, it would be something like this.
Missing Juanita Estevez, now age 16, last seen Yuba City, California, November 27, 1984. Call 800-843-5678.
Then, in 1991, they posted the same image again, but this time it was a little bit less blurry, but it still doesn't look human. Now, the weird thing about this whole situation is it's almost as if Joanna Lopez doesn't exist. She's not in any missing persons databases, and there's no mention of any newspapers or articles of Joanna Lopez going missing around that time. Now, a lot of time would go by with no new developments in this case until July 24, 2021, when Reddit user Proud Morningstar came across a Jane Doe whose body was found in Chicago in 1994. According to the Doe report, this is an unknown woman. She was 5'1", African American, and between the ages of 18 and 22. And based on the photos from this website, she did have familiar features to the missing persons photo, minus the giant alien eyes. Actually, I think the reason the eyes look like that is because she was just wearing those big sunglasses that were popular in the 80s. Anyways, that's one possibility, but a few months ago there was another development on the Joanna Lopez subreddit. Somebody claims to have contacted a woman named Joanna Lopez, who apparently ran away from home in 1989. The woman was supposed to call back the person investigating, but that ended up not happening. So, as it stands, we don't know who Joanna Lopez really is, if she existed, and why the heck her eyes look like that. Okay, the next two entries on this iceberg are Lake City Quiet Pills and Captain Coochie's Key Lime Pie. I'm going to very briefly talk about these since I covered them pretty extensively in my disturbing Reddit post iceberg video. Lake City Quiet Pills started off with a Reddit post announcing that another Redditor had passed away. In the post, it mentions that the newly deceased Redditor ran That Old Guy's Image host, aka LakeCityQuietPills.com. Well, people looked into it and they discovered that this website was actually a front for paid assassins who may have been behind the assassination of Hamas officer Mahmoud al-Mabhouh. Did I pronounce that right? Let me know in the comments. Anybody who speaks Arabic. Anyways, Captain Coochie's Key Lime Pie was a series of strange and often nonsensical posts made about a restaurant called Captain Coochie's Key West Cafe. These posts would frequently appear on random forums and message boards, and the restaurant that was being mentioned in these messages had been closed down for years at that point, so nobody knows what that was all about. Probably just really like key lime pie. Lorenz Scott's final post. So, Mick Jagger is one of those guys that whenever you hear his name, you're like, he's still alive? How? Isn't he like 114 years old? Well, he is still alive, in case you were wondering. And back in the 2000s, Mick Jagger dated a woman named Lorenz Scott for about 10 years. And this woman wasn't just Mick Jagger's guma, okay? She had an illustrious career as a stylist and fashion designer working with some of the biggest celebrities and models in the world. But in 2014, she unfortunately decided to take her own life. On March 17, 2014, Loren was found by her assistant in her New York apartment. She had hanged herself. Now, Loren was a very private person in life, and her death was no different. She didn't leave a note, and the reasons for her decision are a mystery to this day. But the weird thing is, after she had already passed away, this post was made to her Facebook account. So, as you guys can see, it's a photo of dresses of hers hanging from a tree, and the photo is especially eerie since she passed away by hanging herself. And the creepiness was only compounded by the fact that she posted this the day after she passed. It was most likely scheduled in advance by her, so what was the purpose of this photo? Was she trying to tell us something? Was this her final note? I don't know. Alex from Tennessee. This one's probably going to be the creepiest one so far. And like 90% of all other weird stuff on the internet, this story begins on 4chan with the post, "By this rubble your prize awaits. Park nearby and walk to this point for a secret. It's under plastic at this point. Good luck." The location of the prize seems to be by some abandoned warehouses and a junkyard, and surprisingly, no one took OP up on his offer, which made him very frustrated. No one shall claim the prize? Time to try other websites. The OP then starts posting some disturbing images, one of which is of what looks like a decrepit hand with the text, "Little friend fly away, why is no one coming, see?" And this one, which looks like a decomposed skeleton, "My friend moves, my friend is not the prize." And the last photo is of a black garbage bag with the caption, "I've had my friend for a long time now. Not what matters today. I need people to come." A week later, some Chad decided to finally take OP up on his offer, a fella by the name of Alex from Tennessee. So he goes in armed with nothing but a switchblade and a baton. What? Dude, you're from Tennessee. Get a fucking gun, alright? You can walk into a Walgreens in Tennessee, walk out with a tube of Bengay and a gun, you idiot. Anyways, Alex posts on 4chan, "Alex from Tennessee here. I am at the location of the creepy guy. Came early." And then he proceeds to comment a bunch of updates with photos. So I'm just going to do a slideshow with the photos he posts along with the text that went with them. Now guys, I'm pretty sure that 99% of this was all a load of donkey shit, and my conclusion was only reinforced when I came across this now unlisted video from a YouTuber called Noah, who actually explored this location pretty extensively. And in the video, all he found was some homeless people's shelters and not much else. The Butcher. So, I'm not sure if they do this anymore, but back in the day, Nickelodeon used to play some short films, and some of them were apparently pretty creepy, especially for kids. One of these creepy films was known online as The Butcher, so we're not exactly sure what the original video was, if it existed at all, but here's what we do know. The existence of this video was first mentioned in 2019 on the Tip of My Tongue subreddit by user DeadUser00. I used to live in South America around the year 2001 to 2004. Nickelodeon had non-original short films. One short film caught my attention for being way darker than any of the other things on Nickelodeon. The opening scene was the title of the movie in white in a black background. I believe it was called The Butcher. The film is black and white, and there is a hand with a butcher's knife butchering animals made out of real bones. I believe all animals are small ones like a bird, rabbit, dog, etc. They look like this. The video had no dialogue, only music. I also remember seeing bones inside glasses, and I believe the animal bones fused together into some abomination. Now, people in the comments suggested a bunch of different videos. This one in particular seemed like it was very close to what OP was describing. But even after about a dozen suggestions, OP shot them all down. In the meantime, it was discovered that Nickelodeon and CBC, the Canadian Broadcasting Channel, had a partnership in the early 2000s where they would play blocks of short films. This discovery made OP's claims much more plausible, and at this point, people were desperate to find this video. The National Film Board of Canada even got involved and tried to find it. But sadly, not much progress was made. That is until about a year later, OP gave an update on the search. That's when he confirmed with 90% certainty that the film was probably a short artistic film called Butcher's Hook by Simon Pummel, made in 1996. Dead user stated, "Here is the checklist. Small animals made out of real bones. Butcher played by a real person. Butcher gets attacked by his creation. Black and white. Music, no dialogue. Bones inside glasses. And finally, stop motion." Now, it's still unknown where he actually saw this, if it was on Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, or some other channel, but he even reached out to the creator of the short, and he stated he doesn't know either, because he just sold the rights. So, at this point, it's pretty much solved. Bobby Joe Blythe, this one is straight up out of Cobra Kai, and it's exactly as fucked up as Cobra Kai would be if it was real life. The video you're watching was posted to YouTube years ago by karate instructor Billy Joe Blythe, who filmed it all the way back in 1984. Blythe had invited a homeless man with mental issues into his gym one day. The man claimed to be a karate master who was taught martial arts by none other than Jesus Christ himself.
He has no master.
My master is Jesus Christ.
His master is Jesus Christ.
So Blythe brought him into the dojo so he could demonstrate his skills by sparring with one of his students. So they started a pretty standard sparring session, nothing too crazy, but the situation quickly devolved into the student beating the shit out of the homeless guy.
Don't do that anymore.
Basically, the student takes the guy down to the ground, and the homeless guy pretty much taps out, but the karate student then starts dropping some atomic knees right on his head, and it's very graphic and very disturbing. After the dude is lying on the ground bleeding all over the place, his other students drag the man out by his legs and throw him in a dumpster. Now, it's not 100% known what happened after this, but the way the homeless dude was getting beat down, it's very possible that he didn't survive the encounter. But I don't think Bobby would have posted this to his YouTube channel had the man passed away, so I'm going to assume he survived, but probably got permanent brain damage. This was the description on the original YouTube video before it got taken down. This dummy was in my shopping center while I was on a bodyguard job in Washington, D.C. The guy was in a Pizza Hut eating pizza off the plates of others, and the Pizza Hut manager ran him out with a pistol. Later, the very same day, police officers were called to remove him from a nearby pharmacy after being caught reaching into a customer's purse. A short time after that, he visited a Napa Auto Parts store next to the karate dojo and told management he planned on teaching in that dojo and that Jesus taught him. The Napa guys told him he was confused, their polite way of warning him against such an action. But not wanting to miss the show, they told the man that they would close early just to watch, and that he must not know the owner, which is nobody to play with. Needless to say, the police pulled him out of the dumpster behind my karate dojo where he was neatly placed. Semper Fi to all my Marine brothers. The karate student in the white is also a Marine sergeant and a brand new black belt. Never get stupid with a Marine. You could get jacked up and still have your clock stopped. God damn, bro, that's some John Kreese psycho shit, man. This guy's like John Kreese in real life, except way worse, somehow. Luckily, after this happened, Bobby Joe and the student were both arrested and charged with... Nah, I'm kidding. Literally nothing happened to them. They faced absolutely no consequences. Apparently, another investigation was opened into the incident after this video started making its rounds on the internet, but I'm pretty sure the statute of limitations is over by now, man, and it's not exactly sure where Bobby Joe and his students are right now, but mixedmartialarts.com says that Bobby Joe Blythe currently resides in Hanford, California. He stopped teaching karate and became a pilot. His efforts as a pilot appear to parallel his record in martial arts. The main difference being that the victim is now himself. Blythe is known to have crashed in 2003 and 2011, sustaining head injuries in both. The first time they were so severe he required an airlift. So maybe there is a little justice after all. I couldn't find anything about this anywhere on the internet, so take it with a lump of salt. Yeah, damn, man, I thought John Kreese was bad, but to my knowledge, he never beat up a mentally impaired homeless man. But hey, who knows what's going to happen in Season 4. Beeble Fox. It's hard to imagine now, but back in the day, you could post pretty much anything you wanted on YouTube. Like, prior to 2016, it was insane. As long as you didn't post a nipple, basically anything was fair game. I remember watching a decapitation back in the day that stayed up for a long time. These days, if you say the word I'll probably get demonetized. This environment allowed for some pretty disturbing content, which brings me to Beeble Fox. Beeble Fox was a YouTuber whose content can only be described as really fucking weird. Now, he's deleted all of his videos and no one has re-uploaded them except for one, called Furry Rebirth.
You're probably wondering what I'm doing. Well, I'm cutting off my daughter's legs. She's going to be reborn, aren't you, Orange? You're going to be reborn and you're going to be the daughter that you were always meant to be. I'm not sure if I made the right choice. This is Orange right now. I feel sick and we're still waiting.
Okay, so now you guys have a better idea of what we're dealing with here. This guy is a USDA certified weirdo. This is currently the only one of his videos that are still available on the internet, so without any other options, I'm forced to just get clips of his videos from other YouTubers. So shout out to Scare Theater. So in a lot of Beeble Fox's videos, you can see that he has a bunch of photos on his wall of some girl who he's presumably stalking. In another video, he makes a homemade fleshlight and puts the girl's face on this fleshlight. And most of his videos reference somebody called Orange or Orange Citrus. He even mentions her name in that video clip we watched earlier.
There we go. I'm sorry, Orange.
So Orange Citrus is actually another YouTuber who I guess Beeble Fox has some sick obsession with, or at least that's the narrative in the videos. Because as it turns out, Orange Citrus admitted that the whole Beeble Fox video catalog is an ARG, and she was in on it from the beginning.
Scare Theater did not do any research in this case. In the case of Beeble Fox and me, he did no research, because if he did, he'd have known a long time ago by watching some of the first videos that Beeble Fox and I did that it was an ARG. You would have known. But he didn't do enough sleuthing. He He didn't find enough what he, there was evidence. There was tons of evidence I posted about it being an ARG.
But guys, this thing gets a whole lot darker than just a simple ARG. Orange would go on to explain that Beeble Fox isn't just some quirky guy making weird videos. He was also a predator who groomed her when she was 16, and he was in his late 20s. As a matter of fact, the description of her YouTube channel says this exact thing. Basically, she was saying that she built up a small fan base of people through her YouTube videos. And some of these people were kids around her age, others were creepy dudes like Beeble Fox, aka Matt. At some point, they came up with the idea for this ARG. In this video, Orange also spoke about how she wasn't the only young girl who was targeted by this man.
He found me through 4chan, and we began talking on TinyChat. That is when we came to the idea of making videos together on a guy who's obsessed with this teenage girl. But that was all just play. That was all fake. That was all pretend. But then he started to do things behind the scenes that were real, that crossed a boundary with me. Filming me without my permission at any time crosses a boundary with me, especially if you then post it online for the whole world to see when I'm a vulnerable child.
So all in all, this Beeble Fox guy, he's a real schmuck, and hopefully he sees some kind of justice. Oh, and guys, please don't attempt to reach out to Orange Citrus or ask her about the situation. She's mentioned on multiple occasions she wants to distance herself from this situation. She said everything she needs to say and is tired of people constantly asking her about this. So yeah, please respect her wishes and don't reach out to her. Filthy Frank, a symbol of a bygone era, a symbol of a different time, a better time. You see, back in 2013, racism hadn't been invented yet. It was simpler back then. Anyways, enough reminiscing. Filthy Frank posted a video on his channel January 14th, 2013. And like many of his videos, it's since been taken down. The video was called How to Pick Up Girls in 30 Different Cultures. The video was incredibly culturally insensitive and displayed disgusting stereotypes about other races, and I can see why YouTube took it down. It was also hilarious as shit. There was one segment in this video where Frank gives you the secret to picking up a Kenyan woman.
I got an egg roll in my pants.
Now that song right there is the mystery. The first documented inquiry on the origin of the song was made recently after the video was released on this Facebook post. Since then, a bunch of schlemiels have been searching far and wide trying to figure out what this song is. And so far, all we've been able to figure out is that it's probably from Uganda, not Kenya. Uganda, be kidding me. You know what I'm saying? Indian Lake Project. All information on this topic comes from a singular source, a guy named John, who runs the website indianlakeproject.blogspot.com. On October 2nd, 2005, John made his first blog post regarding the Indian Lake Project. He said that his uncle was hiking in a wooded area around Indian Lake, New York, when he found a box half buried in the ground. The box had no lock on it, and when he opened it, he found photos, movie reels, as well as a few documents. In 2002, John's uncle passed away and gave him the box, and he decided to unveil the truth of what was inside. He then proceeded to post images of the contents of the box. Now, I want to point out 3 images in particular. These are photos of children which he found in the box, and they strike me as looking fake as shit, alright? It looks like there's a filter over them. Actual damage to a photo does not look like that. It's too sharp. Also, one of them, this kid looks like Elijah Wood, bro. Here's a photo of Elijah Wood as a child. Tell me that's not the same person. Come on. Anyways, let's assume they're real. So, there's a lot of information on this website, and the gist of it is that the military was running a secret experiment at Indian Lake on children that they took from orphanages. What kind of experiments? Well, they were allegedly mind control experiments related to MK Ultra. Damn, bro, I don't think I've had a single Iceberg video where MK Ultra didn't come up. But guys, I think this is a crock of shit, alright? From the fakeness of the photos alone. Also, I find it very odd that he posted photos of the box itself, but not its contents, right? He just posted the empty box. Like, if you're gonna post scans of the photos and stills from the video that were allegedly in this box, why not show us an image of the box with all the contents inside? I don't know. But if it was real, I think he would have done just that. Also, I just happened to stumble upon this box that was buried not very deep in the woods. Like, bro, if you're gonna have a box full of a bunch of secret shit, hide it better, right? Like, you think these people are that stupid that they're just gonna hide it like right off of a trail in like 2 feet of sand or whatever? No. And you know, this sucks. This had potential to be something really interesting, and I was even planning on making a video on it until I looked into it a little bit, and it's clearly just a load of baloney. Elena Cohen started a YouTube channel back in 2006 under the name Elena XXX. She would post videos of herself singing and playing the guitar, hoping to get noticed and make it big like others before her. And she wasn't like that annoying friend who thinks they're good at singing, but in reality they're just extremely cringe. She had actual talent. In 2010, she began posting frequently and even built up a following of 10,000 subscribers, which was pretty good for that time. For the next couple of years, she kept growing at a steady pace, and things were going well for her. And if Elena kept going at the rate she was going, I'm sure she would eventually have been discovered and moved on to a career in music. But that didn't happen. In 2014, she just kind of disappeared. She privated most of her videos and deleted all of her social media with no explanation, and she was like the type of person who would post a lot. Obviously, her fans were confused and worried about her and started commenting on her remaining videos, wondering why she disappeared. But there was one comment in particular that starts to take this whole thing in a weird direction. The account is being managed. Elena is not alive anymore. I think she would want us all to be of one mind that part of her was never really truly alive. Never will another like you be walking amongst us, Elena. Now, that's pretty cryptic, pretty dubious. And it gets weirder because if you look up the guy who made that comment, E-Planet, you'll find the ramblings of a madman. Just like the incoherent, paranoid, schizophrenic nonsense talking about corruption in the music industry and all sorts of other conspiracies. The guy even tried to sue the singer Lorde on the grounds of racketeering and corrupt organization, alright? There were also multiple references of how he promoted Elena Cohen and worked with her on her career. He also said in his same post that he was arrested after sending a project file to Elena. Now, I'm no lawyer, but I don't think you can be arrested for sending a file to somebody unless that file contains some weird shit. He also states in another Reddit post that he was, quote, unjustly incarcerated and had circumstantial evidence that his criminal case and defense were corrupt. So I think that kind of gives us a good idea about this guy. Not the most well-adjusted individual, I'd say. It's pretty clear when you take this into consideration that Elena most likely left the internet because this guy traumatized her and she didn't want to deal with that or anything else similar, and decided that it wasn't worth it. So she gave up on her dream all because of this putz. You know, I said it once, I'll say it again. Being a woman must be the most terrifying thing ever. So this one's kind of obscure, so if you're interested in a more in-depth look at this topic, Nick Crowley made a really good video on it. Purity Night. Despite what it sounds like, this is not the name of the world's worst superhero. The website crimescene.com tells the story of Purity Night, another young woman who was the victim of a crazy stalker. According to this article, in March 1997, one of Knight's neighbors spotted a man with a camera in a tree outside of Purity's house. The neighbor chased the man who dropped his camera while trying to escape. On the camera, there were multiple photos taken of Purity. Several days after that incident, Purity Night disappeared. It was speculated that the man who was caught stalking her had kidnapped her. A few more weeks would go by when police received a phone call from Ben Archer. Archer had been out walking his dog when he stumbled upon a makeshift coffin buried in the woods. Inside the coffin was the body of Purity Night. The killer was eventually identified as Ed Pierce, a man who was also behind the disappearance of another young woman named Macy Lamar. Pretty crazy stuff, right? Except none of it is true. Crimescene.com is a website dedicated to posting fake crimes for people to investigate and figure out for fun. And I will say though, more than a few people thought that this was real. About a decade after the original Purity Night case was posted, a video popped up on YouTube titled, Rare, Purity Night Buried Alive. Police found footage.
Stephanie!
If you look into it a little bit, you'll see that this video probably has nothing to do with the original story, which came out in 1997. And there's also no links from the original to this one. So I don't think that the OG creator has anything to do with this video. Some people think that this video depicts an actual murder and that the perpetrator is using the Purity Night story as a cover for his crime. But I think it's just likely he was a fan. I don't know about all that other stuff. But it's still fun to speculate, I guess. I mean, not for the chick who possibly got murdered, but yeah. One Potato, Two Potato snuff film. One Potato, Two Potato was a punk music video filmed in 1981 by an unknown artist who apparently went insane during the shoot and whacked the other actors and then hanged himself while on camera. Rumors of this mysterious video swirled around the internet back in the late 2000s, but no one had actually seen the video until a copy of it had apparently showed up on eBay in 2008. It was bought up by a collector and eventually posted on YouTube on April 10, 2009. Or at least, that's how the legend went for a while. Until about 2016, it was revealed that the video was part of a large avant-garde music project made by Austrian trash punk rock artist Albert Dirt. Albert Dirt. That is a very punk name. He released an entire album called Lost Home Recordings, which all had a similar vintage feel to them. So yeah, I think this one's basically just really good marketing campaign for the dude's album, so shout out to him. Messy Tails the Brown-Nosed Pup. I need to take a drink before reading this one. Messy Tails the Brown-Nosed Pup. So when I first heard about this, I was like, oh, this is probably some lost children's cartoon. So I watched Wayne's video on the topic and I could not have been more wrong. Alright, Messy Tails is the most horrendous cartoon character since Franklin the Turtle. By the way, guys, before I get into this, you should probably not watch this entry if you're eating, because I'm going to talk about,
Eat the poo-poo.
Okay, you've been warned. If you take a trip over to Twitter, you can find Messy Tails' Twitter account. The first thing you'll notice about this guy is that he's a furry, of course. And there's one particular tweet on this account that basically sums up this man's entire life. I can't stop eating poop. And this is not a euphemism, okay? He really means it. This man is addicted to caca. Oh, and by the way, guys, I know I warn you guys a lot, and most of the time you guys take my warnings as invitations to go look up things I tell you not to look up. But this time, I really mean it, alright? Do not go to this guy's Twitter. Because I saw some shit that, no pun intended, but I saw some shit, like literal shit, that traumatized me, man. So don't try to be a tough guy, alright? Save yourself the eyesore. So yeah, this guy basically is addicted to caca. All of his Twitter feed is about how he eats caca, and there's a photo evidence of him eating caca. And I don't understand it, bro. If you really want to eat shit, just go to Olive Garden. At one point, he tweeted out, they can put me in a hospital and make me take pills, but now I'm home, and no one can stop me from covering myself in excrement. Man, I really hope my mom is not watching this right now. A few weeks later, he would make his final tweet. On January 12, 2018, things have been rough lately. I'm going to be okay, but it might take a while. Listen, man, you're pretty fucking far from okay. So nobody really knew what happened after this. Most people assumed he died, mostly due to a Twitter thread from a guy who claims to have known him, who said that he passed away due to overindulging. But no one exactly knew for sure what happened. He could be walking around amongst us right now. So stay safe. Yeah Beavis 1 is a game that was first mentioned in a listing for mail-order video game service called Play It Again. It was also mentioned in another similar mail-order service called Funko under the name Yeah Beavis 1, without the second yeah. Other than these two mentions, not much else is known about this game. Did it even exist? Was it an inside joke, or perhaps a misspelling or a mistranslation of a Japanese title? The most accepted theory is that the name is just a weird translation of a Japanese game that released around the same time called Family Trainer Rai Rai Kyoshi's Bobi Kyonshi no Amida Daikon-kun. I'm sorry, I'm terrible at pronouncing everything. Let's move on. Roberto Ferreira Nobrega is a Brazilian time traveler from the year 2075. He came to the year 2018 as a pit stop before traveling back to 1910. People found out about Roberto through his Facebook, but his account has since been deleted. But people wrote down some of the things he said while it was still active. He made 3 major predictions about the future. Or I guess they weren't predictions for him, they were just things that happened. But first of all, he said that in 2019, there would be a civil war. However, he didn't specify where the civil war would take place. The United States, Burkina Faso, Madagascar. I guess it's pretty vague, so if a civil war happened anywhere in the world in 2019, then he's right, and I'm sure it did, so he's 1 for 1 so far. He also said that in 2024 there would be a massive famine, and the way things are going now, it seems that he's right on the money. So 2 for 2. The third prediction is that in 2075, doctors would finally discover a cure for rabies. I love how it's not cancer or AIDS or something like that. It's rabies, a disease which only kills like 4 people per year. But yeah, without access to his Facebook page, there's not much more info. Happy Valley Dream Survey. April 30th, 2015, Reddit user Marcus Yellow posts the image of a flyer he found in Portland, Oregon. Have you been having strange dreams? Actually, yes. I do have a recurring dream where I'm being chased by Franklin the Turtle. The Willamette Valley Dream Survey is investigating a recent spike in bizarre, unexplainable dreams. If you have been experiencing any unusual dream activity, you can help by reporting a summary. Please call this number with a description of your area. Then 5 years later, a very similar sign appeared in Utah, this time under the Happy Valley Dream Survey. Now, I don't have the balls to call these numbers, but apparently they're still in the service, and there are multiple examples of people online calling the number and being greeted with the voicemail.
Please leave a detailed description of your dream at the tone.
A Reddit user who has since deleted their account made a long post on this topic saying that he received calls and texts from this number in the middle of the night. And apparently others had as well. So yeah, that's pretty creepy. Actually, this may be one of the creepiest ones so far. CSI Mad Max. My Little Pony is a cartoon show made for children that has since been co-opted by a bunch of weird and presumably obese men called bronies. Aside from bronies though, there's actually a small demographic of adult women who also enjoy the show. But they don't have a cool name like bronies. One of these ladies is CSI Mad Max, who has made many MLP-related comics on DeviantArt and was a big part of the community. In fact, it's said that she was one of the most influential My Little Pony artists in the community, until she suddenly went missing in 2014. So I've been away from the comic making and cool stuff due to no longer having access to a computer, and my involuntary, newly found nomad-like style of life. Things are certainly bad, and I don't know if I could be able to draw for some time. Okay, so involuntary nomad-like lifestyle either means that she's homeless or she's a fugitive. After this message, it would be radio silence from CSI Mad Max, and rumors began to swirl that she had been displaced because of the Russian invasion of Crimea, since that was going on around the same time as she made her post. But there was no actual evidence of this. People then started looking into it, and there's a whole article on horsenews.org, which is a real website, the most trusted name in news. They found that her Tumblr pages were scrubbed by the page owner over a year after the initial post, which means she was still alive, but probably just didn't want to be part of the community anymore. But yeah, that's kind of where we're left off. There's no more to it. Lost baby at the Gucci store. This one is exactly what it sounds like. If you look on Google Street View, you can see there's a fucking baby crawling around in front of the Gucci store, alright? This presents many questions. What happened here? Did the parents go inside the store and just say, damn, I could afford so much more Gucci if I didn't have this damn baby? That's the only possible reason I can think for this kid being there. Either that, or his parents trained him to shoplift because no one would suspect a 2-year-old of stealing some Gucci sunglasses and wallets. And the third theory, which I personally believe, that's not a baby, alright? That's a midget masquerading as a baby trying to steal some Gucci. Actually, this kind of reminds me of that one Dave Chappelle joke he told back when he was still funny.
Hey, baby! Baby, go home, man. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. What the fuck are you doing up? The baby said, I'm selling weed, nigga. I said, oh.
No, but for real, I hope this is just Google doing some weird stuff to drum up attention for Google Street View. That's what I'm going to choose to believe for my own mental health. Context. This all started on August 6, 2020, when YouTuber The Tech It Realm made a video titled, Me at the Zoo wasn't the first YouTube video. In this video, he claims the first YouTube channel was called Comtest, and that the creators used it to test their actual video playback functionality. Well, it turns out this was completely wrong, and it had been thoroughly debunked. Even one of YouTube's co-founders debunked this claim, and my first reaction when I watched the Tech It Realm's video on this was, who gives a shit? I mean, apparently 5.4 million people care, because that's how many people watched this video, but does it matter? Who cares? I'm honestly mad I wasted my time with this one. Next, Dracula 1920. We got another piece of lost media here, ladies and germs. So Dracula 1920 is an alleged Russian film adaptation of Bram Stoker's Dracula, a novel about a blood-sucking demon who lures men to their doom. Shit, you know, that kind of sounds like my ex-wife now that I think about it. Now, the existence of this film was first mentioned in the book The Vampire Book, an encyclopedia of the undead, where the author says, this is the first film based on the original novel and no known copy has survived. It's unknown if he was talking out of his ass cheeks or not, but I find it highly doubtful that the Russians would be working on a feature film in the middle of a brutal civil war. But hey, I guess it's not impossible, so the search continued. A reference to the film was found on a Russian academic encyclopedia page, where the movie is actually listed in the Russian State Film Fund. But I can't confirm the validity of this because there's an error on the page where all the text is screwed up. I can't read it. Also, there was a clip posted to YouTube that was supposedly from the film. And at this point I was like, oh shit, there it is. Dracula 2020. Wrong. This is a fake, a dupe, a sham. People who knew, more about film than me pointed out that it's just a modern day movie that had some effects put over it to make it look old. But it's still pretty convincing to the untrained eye. So the search continued, but it didn't really bear any fruit. The prevailing theory, and the one that I believe is true, is that the movie just got confused with the lost 1921 Hungarian film, Dracula Halala, which actually doesn't have anything to do with the novel at all. Godly Recon. This one is truly obscure. I couldn't find much of anything about Godly Recon other than a scare theater video. And this Reddit post where it looks like OP was having a similar issue. He said he came across Godly Recon from this video, Top 10s, Creepy Things from the Internet by Nation Squid. And according to this post, Godly Recon was number 4 in this list of top 10. But the thing is, the bastard removed that section of his video. It skips straight from 5 to 3, skips right over 4. And it took me way too long to figure this out, alright? I was starting to think I was remedial or some shit. So you guys probably don't know this, but YouTube has a feature where you can cut out parts of your video. So he used that to cut out the mention of Godly Recon completely for some reason that's not known to me. So what the heck is Godly Recon? You guys are probably confused right now. And why did this guy who made the video feel the need to cut that part out of his video? Okay, so Godly Recon was a YouTube video of some young woman who did vlogs. But basically all of her videos have been removed from YouTube, and the only evidence we have of her channel is some re-uploads. Now, where it starts to get disturbing is that this was the last video she posted on her channel back in April 2007, which had the title, Goodbye. Apparently this video was taken down by YouTube within an hour, and her entire channel was taken down soon after. Now, Scare Theater came up with the theory that Nation Squid, the guy who posted that top 10 video, basically made the whole thing up and it was a hoax. And I think I agree with that theory, because what else would explain his reasoning to remove that topic from the video entirely? It just makes no sense. So Nation Squid, if you're watching this right now, you're kind of a schmuck, alright? I still love you, buddy, but you're kind of a schmuck. Ordon's Forest. Have you ever seen this image? It's pretty creepy, huh? This guy would definitely benefit from a Manscaped subscription. Link in bio. The disturbing image is from a short film called Ordon's Forest. This film had been made in 2005, but was never shown to a larger audience than a few film festivals. But a Reddit user was able to track it down eventually, and let me tell you guys, this movie is just as creepy as you would think. But yeah, there's not really much to this one. It's one of those rare cases where the lost media is found relatively easily. 5-hour video. There's really not a lot out there about this one. Really, the only thing I was able to find was this post on 4chan's X-board. If you scroll down past a bunch of images of dudes spreading their butt cheeks apart, and no, that's not a joke, you'll eventually come across an explanation for this mythical video.
Allegedly an untitled video that is 5 hours long and contains footage of aliens, and the killing of aliens, was found on the deep web. Many believe the video to be non-existent. Despite this, more and more people claim to have seen the video.
So yeah, supposedly multiple people have claimed to see this video despite it being incredibly hard to find. The screenshots I'm showing on screen now are supposedly from the video, but in my opinion, this one is most likely USDA certified horseshit once again. Orcomer, Iowa, was a small Midwestern town that, similar to my dad, disappeared with no explanation. I'm not even going to get into this one because it's basically just a creepypasta and there's no reason to dive into it. It's kind of dumb. WKCR hijacking incident. WKCR is a radio station that broadcasts out of Columbia University in New York. On March 2nd, 2013, a 4chan user posted a sound clip of what appears to be the station getting hijacked. Around 1995, I was 15. I used to stay up late in my room listening to the radio on a boombox with an integrated tape recorder. I'd dial through the stations, and when I heard something interesting, I'd hit record for a while, then move on. It's a weird hobby. One night I came across this. I don't think this was the beginning of the broadcast, but I caught a lot of it. Right at the end, an announcer says that the station I was tuned into, WKCR 89.9 New York, there were a bunch of names and dates in there, but I've never run into anything else like this. Also, the first comment on this post was, "Aren't you a little old for this retarded virgin shit?" You gotta love 4chan, man. Anyways, you guys are probably chomping at the bits to hear this bad boy. Okay, man, I'm not gonna lie. That's pretty creepy. Even creepier is the fact that they were apparently reading obituaries and names of dead people. Now, there are three theories as to what this could be. Theory number one is that the OP on 4chan made the whole thing up. Theory number two is that it's a prank being played on the actual people working at the radio station. I saw somebody on Reddit say that they were a college DJ and they would do stuff like this all the time and try to creep people out, which makes sense. And the third theory is that some radio pirate did hijack the station, but it's unknown who it was and for what reason. But probably just a prank, bro. SpongeBob Brazilian defecation broadcast. Have you guys ever heard of the brown note? Apparently it's a specific frequency that when heard will make you shit your pants uncontrollably. Well, apparently during the 2016 Olympics in Brazil, somebody hijacked a Brazilian TV station and played a bootleg version of SpongeBob. During the SpongeBob broadcast, Squidward played the brown note and hundreds of people soiled themselves. But you know what, man? This whole story is shitty. No pun intended. Like, the brown note isn't even real. I remember watching an episode of Mythbusters when I was a kid that proved it isn't real. So that's good to know, I guess. The Human Pet One. The Human Pet is a YouTube channel that features videos of a man who's trapped in a room against his will by some psycho wearing a mask. The third video on this channel, titled My Pet Needs to Eat, Help Him. Okay, so the viewers need to guess the correct food so that this guy can live. And it's cat food. He's feeding the guy cat food. But hey, at least he didn't give him a shitty brand. Frisky's pretty good. Or so I've heard from my cat. We eventually find that the young man who is being held captive is named Eric Taylor. There's another channel called Find Eric Taylor, where his family is putting out a call to action to find Eric.
This is Michael Taylor again, Eric's father. Recently, it has been brought to my attention that he has been posting videos of my son Eric on YouTube and other video sharing sites. He has titled these videos The Human Pet and features my son Eric in them. Obviously, my family and I are very concerned about these videos. We are continuing to work with the authorities to find Eric and to stop this man. We are also asking for the public's help, for your help.
Alright, so when you go to finderictaylor.com, it says that this guy's a convicted child diddler, so I think it's probably not the same guy. But anyways, the rest of the videos of the Human Pet channel show him stalking Eric, and there's also some occult stuff, and a lot of videos have hidden clues and symbolism in them. But then suddenly, without any notice, the channel stopped posting in 2008. The last video they put up was titled, This Video Takes You to HE Double Hockey Sticks. Now, I didn't watch it because I don't want to risk getting anally brutalized by the devil for eternity. But from what I can tell, the trail just goes cold after that video. I don't think there's been any updates since then. But I feel I should mention that the description of all these videos says an interactive fictional horror story directed by Sam Deercott. Some people believe that this was only put there as a cover-up for the dark reality, that Eric actually was being imprisoned and tortured. Either way, if you guys are fans of creepy internet stuff, this one's actually really interesting to get into, and not a lot of people know about it, so I highly recommend it. 9813D514. Okay, before I get into this one, I need to explain what Toho is. Toho is a Japanese shoot-'em-up video game franchise that has a decent-sized cult following. A new entry is added to the game basically every year, with the latest installment being Unconnected Marketeers, which released in 2021. And this series has some pretty extensive lore. Apart from the game itself, the community around it has created a lot of fan fiction, artwork, memes, things of that nature, based on the lore of the games. So what I'm trying to say is, this is some weeb shit. Anyways, at some point, a YouTube account with the name 9813D514 began leaving comments that contained Morse code on Toho-related videos. There's not a whole lot of info about these comments anywhere, but a guy by the name of Vampire Pineapple deciphered this whole thing, so shout out to him. These Morse code messages left by that person were basically nonsensical. And when you combine all the messages together, they said the following. And feel free to pause to read this. I'm afraid if I read this, I'll transform into a weeb. But basically, it's related to the lore of the games. Now, 9813D514 actually had a YouTube channel, and this is their first video. The rest of the videos were just random clips with more Morse code in the descriptions. Basically, this is a very niche ARG that only people who are fans of Toho are familiar with, and the lore of it goes pretty deep, but it's not really worth it for me to get too far into this unless you guys are really big fans of this game series, so I'm just going to go ahead and move on. Russian homunculus. So a homunculus is a very small human or humanoid creature. So basically any dude under 5'10". Actually, from now on, I think instead of calling people short, I'm going to call them homunculus. Anyways, there's a man in Russia who claims to have created a homunculus by inseminating a chicken egg with his own jizz.
So, это человеческое семя. На этот раз я решил воздержаться в течение некоторого времени, потому что подумал, вдруг семя не успевает созревать.
3 days later.
Так. Угу. Что-то интересное. Так, ну-ка. Угу.
Движение появилось. Похоже, он пришел в себя. Любопытно. Блядь!
What the fuck? Holy smokes, dude! That was your son! You just crushed your son with a book, you putz! What the hell is wrong with you? Now, this guy actually has 21 videos in his Homunculus series, and he got a decent amount of views before he stopped posting. Probably because one of his experiments went horribly wrong and finally got revenge for their brother who was brutally crushed to death with a book. Man, it's actually really impressive how real this looks, and I'm not sure how he made it look so realistic, but he did a really good job, man. I mean, that looks real, come on. As a matter of fact, it looks so real that there's an alarming amount of people who believe that it is. Like, one person would be an alarming amount. But I've seen multiple people online swear that it's real and get like pissed off when you tell them it's not. Like, did these motherfuckers skip 4th grade biology? It don't work like that. And also, if it was real, it would be like one of the biggest scientific breakthroughs of the 21st century. But unfortunately, it looks like we'll never find out because apparently the channel's creator passed away due to a heart attack shortly after he posted the video Homunculus number 21. RIP to an absolute legend. Meat Station. So back in 2018, this conspiracy theory iceberg was posted to Reddit. This is actually the same iceberg that was popularized by Wendigoon in his Conspiracy Iceberg Explained videos, which I highly recommend you guys check out if you haven't already. It's only like 9 hours long. If you guys go way down to tier 9, which is the second from the bottom, you'll see an entry that says Meat Stations. Do not research. And I didn't. Okay, I did a little bit because I'm a cheeky guy. So basically, a meat station is what they used to call your mom back in high school. No, a meat station is essentially just a meat market, but instead of selling chickens and hogs, they're selling humans to people who have a cannibalism fetish. There's really no evidence to back it up, just people talking about it on the internet. But basically, there's two theories. Either people are selling it as other types of meat like pork, which by the way is the most similar meat to human, Or the other theory is that rich weirdos are paying top dollar to some Squid Game's human traffickers for this meat. See, man, this is why I don't eat pork. Well, except for gabagool, of course, and prosciutto, but that doesn't count. Oh, and salami and mortadella, and, you know, of course I gotta have the speck and the Tub Girl. Tub Girl is an image that, well, I'm just gonna have the great Patrice O'Neal describe it for you.
Is an Asian girl in the bathtub. She cocks her legs back to where her knees are by her ears. And shits in her own face.
Man, the crazy thing is I somehow made it 44 years without seeing this image. Like, I remember back in the day when all these crazy videos were going around, 2 girls, 1 cup, 1 guy, 1 jar, 3 midgets, 1 biscuit. I've seen them all. Most of the time not by choice, but this image somehow eluded me. And I really wish it would have continued to elude me, but here we are. And if it wasn't clear, do not look this up. Do not look up Tub Girl. I'm serious when I tell you guys not to look something up, alright? Every time I tell you guys to look something up, you look it up and then you regret it. Alright, for once, listen to me, alright? Listen to Uncle Danny for once. The image first appeared on the now debunked Rotten.com all the way back in the year 2000. 2 years later, the domain tubgirl.com would be registered, which would proudly feature this image. And then YouTube came along and every talentless schmuck with a webcam started posting their dog shit reactions to Tub Girl. But despite it floating around the internet for the better part of 2 decades, nobody has been able to figure out what the origin of this photo is, or who it is, and most importantly, why? Why would she do this? I don't know, but I think some questions are better left unanswered. Dig Your Roots / After School Special. This is referring to a lost snuff film on Bescore that allegedly features 2 kids being stabbed in their bedroom. Luckily, this is entirely fake. The original post in this thread stated, "We create lost media and try to make Anons make rundowns of them." And one of the fake lost medias listed was this one, which kind of makes me think, how many other internet mysteries are things that are completely fake? Probably most of them, honestly. The 2006 volleyball incident. So, supposedly a lot of people remember an incident where there was a shooting at a volleyball game where a bunch of people were massacred. But the thing is, this never happened. But there's still people claiming they remember it. So, I grabbed my shovel and I did a little digging. And I found out that the first mention of the 2006 volleyball incident was in this Iceberg chart that was posted on Reddit on April 2017. And guess what? No mentions before that, like 0. So I'm thinking this is either some Mandela effect bullshit or people have it confused with a similar situation that happened in Colorado in 2006. Mark L. Rosen's account. Mark L. Rosen was a film producer for over 40 years and has been known for producing films such as Blackula, Alligator, and Schizoid. Really illustrious film career. He also produced the documentary Snuff, which he also had a part in where he described his experience seeing an actual snuff film. I'm not going to get too in-depth for obvious reasons, but basically in the 70s, Mark was working in the adult entertainment industry and at one point met with a Filipino gentleman who said he had a tape that was unlike anything he'd ever seen before. And boy oh boy was he right. The film allegedly depicted what started off as rough intercourse, but eventually escalated to a man putting a bag over the woman's head and
Well, I'd like to set the record straight with you about one thing. It isn't fictitious. The Filipino gentleman had a real snuff film. Somebody died. A woman died.
Yeah, and you know, for once, I think I believe this guy because he seemed pretty shook up when he was talking about it. Scott Clisciolti. So this is another one that I talked about in detail on my disturbing Reddit post Iceberg, so I'll give a brief rundown. On January 2nd, 2016, someone posted a question to ask Reddit. To those who have accidentally killed someone, what went wrong? Somebody responded with a long deleted story. This still haunts me to this day. As kids, we had a hideout in this dirt cliff cove. There was a neighborhood kid who in hindsight was probably mentally handicapped in some way. But to us, he was just a weird/creepy kid. 3 of us were headed to our base and found the creepy kid sitting on top of our gourd chair. We yelled at him to get out, and he said something like, "Make me." And then he started lobbing dirt clods and sticks down at us. We all ran around to the side to make our way up, and it gets pretty fuzzy here, but all I remember is he fell. I still remember the sound. When we got back down to check on him, he was in a very awkward position with blood coming out of his mouth. We all just freaked out and ran home. And as far as I know, nobody had spoken a word of this to anybody. We didn't go back for over a month and never said a word of it between us. Again, this was the 80s, so media wasn't like it is today. Chances are it got a small article in the newspaper B section, missing mentally disabled child found dead after fall or something like that. Well, some sleuths on Reddit were able to match this post up with a kid named Scott Schulte who went missing around the same time and would be the correct age. Serial killer calls to Howard Stern. This one's pretty self-explanatory. I'll play you guys a snippet from this exchange.
All right, I got a guy on the phone who claims he's been killing prostitutes and he's wondering why he's doing it.
You can call me Clay.
Clay?
Clay?
Yes, Clay. Okay, Clay, so what happened? How many prostitutes have you killed?
12.
And you're wondering why you do it?
I have a pretty good idea.
Why? Did your mom beat you? Did your mom spank you?
Was your mom a prostitute?
No. Actually, nothing like that.
What is it then?
I think I just do it for the sense of the power.
All right. Do you have sex with them first?
Yes, and
And then what, you strangle them?
once.
How else did you kill them?
Well, a few times, actually most times with a hammer.
Why did you use a hammer? You think you...
Because it was in a book I read.
To this day, Clay still hasn't been caught. Assuming he's telling the truth, of course. Welcome to whatever that symbol is. Man, I couldn't really find anything on this topic. So, welcome to is referring to this video, which has just 3,409 views.
Look how bright the sun is in the city. Too bad for the people. No sky is here today. Dazed. You live here, we were told. It takes a long time to hide where we are wrong.
Well, there it is. Like I said, man, this is so obscure that there's no other information on it. However, after I did some deep scouring, I was able to find another video that's very similar to this one, and I think might shed some light on this whole thing. Now they hear it all the time. This one is a very obscure piece of lost media. It was only mentioned in 2 places. The first is on a website called Metafilter, which is a community weblog. A user known as, funnily enough, Humunculus, posted an article about tinnitus. One of the comments on this blog post was by a user named Jay Bennett, who said, "Every time a tinnitus FPP shows up, I run off to search for the old PSA that would run constantly through my youth. Static shot of a dramatically lit mannequin head, black/gray background with overlapping tracks of different everyday noise building up, steadily, until it all becomes white noise and then abruptly goes silent. After a beat, 3 red laser spots ping on the temple of the mannequin head and ultra high-pitched tone pulses slowly. It freaked me out. I want to see it again and see if I remember it correctly. Has anyone else seen this? It hasn't turned up on YouTube, or at least not spelled correctly." I believe that comment was made in 2009. Then 9 years later, the mysterious PSA would be brought up again on Reddit. Under an Ask Reddit post, "What's your internet white whale?" Something you've been searching for years, but can't find. Brock Lee says, "When I was a kid, there was a television PSA that aired about tinnitus. This would have been maybe 1978 to 1980 or so. Someone was narrating, while these things that looked like frosted mannequin heads would flash internal lights, while typical tinnitus humming and buzzing sounds played. This may have been limited to the NYC area, not sure. Have never found it on YouTube, and I always thought having tinnitus would be horrible based on the PSA." Then there's a few people under him saying that they also remember the PSA. Now, I think there's a good chance that this one's real, unless maybe it's the same guy in both of those posts, but I highly doubt he played the long game for 9 years just to slightly troll somebody.
Alright, I'm recording on my MacBook speakers right now, so I apologize if the audio quality is shitty, but I actually do have an update on this one after I already recorded everything. I found the video. Alright, it was posted on YouTube in 2019. Here it is, and I promise it's not a rickroll. I promise I will not rickroll you twice in one vid.
Most Americans choose not to hear the warnings about tinnitus. The warnings about what loud noises can do. How some sounds can get stuck inside your head. How they can grow and get louder. Yes, most Americans choose not to hear what tinnitus can do. Now they hear it all the time.
Okay, I'm not going to say all that, but this is the name of the entry. So it's referring to a video on YouTube that's posted by a channel named, again, I'm not going to say it's too many numbers. And the video itself is just a bunch of weird clips cobbled together randomly to seem spooky. I don't know if it's an ARG or what, but nobody's been able to decipher any of these codes as far as I know. Now, those numbers are obviously coordinates to some location, so if you type these coordinates into Google, it'll take you to some lake in Finland. And as we all know, Finland isn't real. So there's nothing more to this story. Dang, man, how uneventful. I really wish we could have ended the video off on a better entry, but hey, you can't win them all. Dang, man, I feel like by the time I'm done editing this video is going to be incredibly long, so thank you to everyone who stuck through to the end. You guys deserve a prize. So if you get to this point, leave a comment saying Gilmore's groin awareness, and I'll pick one of you to win a $100 Amazon gift card, and I'll also be donating $100 to the Gilmore's groin research. Guys, we need to find a cure to this disease, so please spread the word, please spread awareness. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching. Check out my Patreon. Donate your hard-earned money for not much in return. Check me out on all of the social media as well. The links are in the description of this video. Other than that, guys, there's not much else to say. Thank you for watching again. Later.